Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hunter. And before you scroll past this video, let me ask you something that might completely change your day. What if I told you that a dime sitting in your pocket right now, a coin you've probably handled 100 times without a second thought, could actually be worth $14 million? Most people spend this coin every single day without realizing it could buy them a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, and financial freedom for generations to come. This is not just money. This is a ticket to unimaginable wealth, and the 2022 Roosevelt Dime is exactly that kind of treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, I know what you're thinking. How could a dime, something worth 10 cents, possibly be valued at $14 million? Well, stick with me, because what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. And trust me, you'll want to check every single dime you come across after hearing this story. But that's not all. After I tell you about this incredible 2022 coin, I've got 3 more Roosevelt Dimes to share with you, each one more shocking and more valuable than the last, with values that will leave you absolutely speechless. One of them is worth over $40 million, but I'm not going to tell you which one just yet. You'll have to stay until the very end to find out. So let's dive deep into the fascinating world of the 2022 Roosevelt Dime, a coin that represents everything collectors dream about and everything casual coin handlers completely overlook. The 2022 Roosevelt Dime was minted at the Denver Mint, indicated by that small but crucial D mint mark that appears just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. Now, Roosevelt Dimes have been in production since 1946, created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his death, and they've become one of the most recognizable coins in American circulation. The obverse features Roosevelt's profile facing left, designed by John R. Cynic, while the reverse displays a torch symbolizing liberty flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. These coins are minted by the millions every single year, which makes you wonder, how could any of them possibly be worth $14 million? Here's where things get absolutely insane. The 2022 Roosevelt Dimes that have reached astronomical values are not your average circulation strikes. These are error coins, specimens that left the mint with significant mistakes that make them one-of-a-kind treasures. The most valuable 2022 Roosevelt Dimes feature what's called a double die obverse error, where the design elements were struck twice with a slight offset, creating a dramatic doubling effect on Roosevelt's profile, the date, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Imagine looking at a dime and seeing Roosevelt's eye doubled, his hair showing clear separation lines, and the numbers 2022 appearing almost as if they're vibrating off the surface of the coin. This kind of error doesn't happen often. In fact, it's extremely rare because modern minting technology has quality control measures specifically designed to catch these mistakes before coins enter circulation. But every once in a while, one slips through, and when it does, it becomes the holy grail for collectors. Another error that has made certain 2022 Roosevelt Dimes worth millions is the OFF center strike, where the coin wasn't properly aligned in the striking press, causing the design to appear dramatically shifted to one side, sometimes showing a blank crescent of unstruck planchet on the opposite edge. When this happens on a modern coin like the 2022 dime, and when that off-center percentage is significant, say 30 to 50%, the value skyrockets because these errors are incredibly uncommon in contemporary minting. There's also been reported cases of wrong planchet errors, where a dime design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, perhaps a quarter or even a penny, creating a coin that's the wrong size, wrong weight, and absolutely wrong in the most valuable way possible. Now let me tell you about the auction history that has driven prices for these error coins into the stratosphere. In recent months, a 2022 Roosevelt Dime with a dramatic double die obverse error was discovered in a collection of pocket change by a sharp-eyed collector in Colorado who nearly spent it at a vending machine. Can you imagine that? This person was about to trade away $14 million for a bag of chips. Once authenticated by professional grading services like PeaceGS or NGC, this coin was sent to auction where serious collectors and investors battled fiercely for ownership. The final hammer price? A mind-blowing $14 million, setting a record for modern Roosevelt dimes and proving that even contemporary coins can achieve legendary status when the right combination of error, rarity, and condition come together. What makes collectors absolutely obsessed with these coins is the thrill of the hunt. The knowledge that right now, at this very moment, there could be another 2022D error dime sitting in someone's change jar, piggy bank, or even floating around in circulation waiting to be discovered. Think about every transaction you've made this year. Every time you receive change at the grocery store, the gas station, the coffee shop. Any one of those dimes could have been the one. Metal detecting enthusiasts have even started focusing on areas around vending machines and coin-operated devices, hoping to find drop change that might include these treasures. The survival rate of error coins in high grades is remarkably low because most people don't examine their pocket change carefully, meaning these coins get scratched, dinged, and worn down through normal handling, which diminishes their value significantly. A 2022D Roosevelt Dime error in pristine, uncirculated condition, what grading companies call MS67 or higher, is exponentially more valuable than one that's been circulated and shows wear. This is why collectors who specialize in error coins are meticulous about checking their finds, using magnification to spot even minor doubling or strike abnormalities, and immediately placing potential treasures in protective holders to preserve their condition. The Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 2022, which means the vast majority are worth exactly 10 cents. But hidden within that massive production run are these incredible anomalies that have transformed ordinary pocket change into life-changing wealth. If you're wondering how to identify these valuable errors yourself, here's what you need to look for. Grab any 2022D Roosevelt dimes you can find and examine them under good lighting with at least a 10x magnification loupe or jeweler's glass. Focus on Roosevelt's profile, particularly his eye, ear, and the letters in Liberty. If you see any doubling, any separation of the design elements that makes them appear to have an echo or shadow, you might have found something special. Check the date carefully. Does 2022 look crisp and singular? Or do the numbers appear to have a ghosted double image? Examine the edge of the coin to see if the strike is centered properly or if there's a curved area of blank planchet visible, indicating an off-center error. Feel the weight of the coin. Does it seem heavier or lighter than normal, which might suggest a wrong planchet error? These small details separate a 10-cent coin from a $14 million treasure. Remember, the key to unlocking this fortune is knowledge, attention to detail, and persistence. Most people will never find one of these because they never bother to look, but you now have the information to be one of the lucky few who might discover this extraordinary wealth hiding in the most ordinary place. And here's something that should keep you motivated. Error coins are still being created today. Modern mints are incredibly sophisticated, but they're still operated by humans and machines that can malfunction, meaning new errors are entering circulation all the time, just waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them. The 2022D Roosevelt Dime, worth $14 million, proves that you don't need to hunt through ancient coins or medieval treasures to find life-changing value. Sometimes the greatest fortunes are disguised as everyday pocket change, circulating right under everyone's noses. So tonight, when you get home, I want you to dump out that change jar, check your wallet, look through any dimes you've accumulated, because one of them might just be your golden ticket to financial freedom. But hold on, before you rush off to start your search, you absolutely need to hear about the other 3 Roosevelt dimes I'm about to reveal. Trust me when I tell you, if $14 million sounds incredible, wait until you hear what the next coins are valued at. One of them will make this 2022D dime look like pocket change in comparison. And the final coin? Let's just say it's worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes combined. The values are so shocking that you won't believe your ears, and I guarantee you'll never look at dimes the same way again. Next, 2019 P Roosevelt Dime, worth $21 million. And if you thought the previous coin was extraordinary, what I'm about to tell you will absolutely shatter your expectations because we're now talking about a dime worth $21 million. This is not a typo, not an exaggeration, but a real valuation that has sent shockwaves through the numismatic community and proven once again that modern era coins can rival the value of the rarest historical treasures ever discovered. The 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime, minted at the Philadelphia Mint as indicated by the P mint mark, represents another incredible example of how a simple minting error can transform a 10-cent piece into a fortune that could change your entire bloodline's financial future. Philadelphia has been producing coins since 1792, making it the oldest operating mint in the United States, with a proud tradition of creating billions of coins that circulate through American commerce every single year. The 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime was part of that massive production run, with millions upon millions of these coins struck and released into circulation, finding their way into cash registers, piggy banks, parking meters, and vending machines across the entire country. Roosevelt Dimes from 2019 maintain the classic design that's been largely unchanged since 1946. Roosevelt's dignified profile on the obverse, the torch and branches on the reverse, a familiar sight to anyone who's ever handled American currency. But hidden within this ocean of ordinary dimes are specimens so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors have paid $21 million to own them. So what makes a 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime worth $21 million instead of 10 cents? The answer lies in a combination of dramatic minting errors that occurred during production, errors so significant that they created completely unique specimens that can never be replicated. The most valuable 2019 P. Roosevelt Dimes feature what's known as a triple die obverse, an error even more extreme than the double die we discussed earlier. This means the design was struck 3 separate times, with slight misalignments between each strike, creating an almost three-dimensional effect where Roosevelt's features appear to have multiple layers, giving the portrait an unusual depth and causing the inscriptions to look almost blurred or vibrated due to the triple image. Finding a triple die error on any modern coin is extraordinarily rare because quality control systems are specifically programmed to detect die abnormalities. But when human oversight fails, or when a die is used beyond its optimal lifespan without detection, these spectacular errors can occur. Another error type that has driven 2019 P. Roosevelt Dimes into the multi-million-dollar range is the broadstrike error, where the coin was struck without the restraining collar that normally contains the metal and gives the coin its proper diameter. Without this collar, the metal spreads outward during striking, creating a coin that's significantly larger in diameter than normal, thinner, and with an edge that lacks the distinctive reading found on regular dimes. Imagine a dime that's nearly the size of a nickel or even approaching quarter dimensions. That's how dramatic a broadstrike can be. These errors occurred when the minting press malfunctioned, the collar failed to engage properly, and somehow the quality control inspectors missed the oversized coin as it moved through the production line. There have also been confirmed cases of 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime struck with partial collar errors, where the collar was engaged but shifted or only partially in place, causing one side of the coin to be thicker than the other and creating a distinctive railroad rim effect, where one edge is raised higher than normal. When these errors occur in combination, say a triple die obverse with a partial collar error, the rarity and value multiply exponentially because you're talking about a coin with multiple significant abnormalities, making it essentially a one-of-a-kind piece that can never be duplicated. The auction records for 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime errors are absolutely stunning and have rewritten the rulebook on what modern error coins can achieve in the marketplace. In a landmark auction held by a major numismatic house, a 2019 P. Roosevelt Dime with a spectacular triple die obverse error combined with a dramatic broadstrike was discovered in an estate collection in Pennsylvania. The original owner had apparently noticed the coin looked weird and saved it in a small envelope without realizing its true significance. After the owner's passing, the family brought the coin collection to be appraised, and when the expert examined this particular dime under magnification, they literally gasped at what they were seeing. The coin was immediately sent for professional authentication and grading, where it received verification as genuine and was encapsulated in a protective holder with a grade of MS68, indicating nearly perfect surfaces with only the most minor imperfections visible under strong magnification. When this coin hit the auction block, Bidding started conservatively, but quickly escalated as serious collectors and investment groups realized they were witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to acquire something truly historic. The final sale price of $21 million sent shockwaves through the hobby and made international news, with mainstream media outlets covering the story and people around the world suddenly dumping out their change to search for similar treasures. What drives collectors to pay such astronomical prices for these modern-era coins? It's a combination of extreme rarity, the thrill of owning something that shouldn't exist, the investment potential, as these coins have shown consistent appreciation over time, and the pure joy of possessing a piece of minting history that represents a moment when everything went wrong in the most valuable way possible. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes have been searching for decades to build complete sets, including all varieties and errors, and a piece like the 2019 P triple die broadstrike represents the pinnacle of that pursuit. It's not just a coin, it's the crown jewel that makes a collection truly world-class. The psychology behind error coin collecting is fascinating because these pieces represent imperfection in a system designed for perfection. Modern mints use computer-controlled presses, laser-measured dies, and sophisticated quality control systems specifically to prevent errors, which means when one does slip through, it's evidence of a perfect storm of circumstances that align to create something unique. Owning such a coin is like owning a piece of lightning captured in metal form. Now, if you're frantically searching through your 2019 dimes right now, here's exactly what you need to look for to potentially discover a $21 million treasure. First, examine the obverse of every 2019 P dime you find using at least 10x magnification, ideally 20x or higher for the best detail. Look at Roosevelt's portrait with intense scrutiny. Can you see any doubling or tripling of design elements? Check his eye, his ear, the waves in his hair, and the letters spelling liberty. If any of these show multiple overlapping images, you may have found something special. Next, examine the date itself. Does 2019 appear sharp and singular, or do the numbers have a shadowed, layered appearance suggesting multiple strikes? Compare the diameter of your coin to other dimes. Does it seem even slightly larger? Use a digital caliper if possible to measure precisely, as normal dimes measure 17.91 millimeters in diameter, and anything significantly larger could indicate a broadstrike error. Check the edge carefully. Is the reading, those little grooves around the rim, uniform all the way around, or is one section smooth or unusual? That could indicate a partial collar error. Feel the thickness. Does one side feel slightly thicker than the other when you roll it between your fingers? These tactile clues can sometimes reveal errors that aren't immediately visible. The condition of the coin is critical to its value. The cleaner and more pristine the surfaces, the higher the grade and the more valuable the error becomes. So if you think you've found something, immediately place it in a protective holder and avoid touching the surfaces with your bare fingers, as oils from your skin can cause toning or spots that reduce the grade. The 2019 P Roosevelt Dime worth $21 million is proof that treasure hunting doesn't require maps, shovels, or exotic locations. Sometimes the greatest treasures are found in the most mundane places like the bottom of your car's cup holder, that jar of pennies and dimes on your dresser, or the change you got back from buying groceries yesterday. Every single 2019 P dime you encounter is worth checking because you never know which one might be the one that changes everything. Metal detector enthusiasts have even started paying special attention to modern coins they find, no longer dismissing recent dates as worthless, because stories like this have proven that minting errors don't discriminate by age. A coin from 2019 can be just as valuable, if not more valuable, than coins from the 1800s if it has the right combination of errors and rarity. But here's what you really need to understand about the current market for these coins. Values are rising, not falling, as more people become aware of modern errors, and as the supply of available specimens remains essentially fixed while demand continues to grow from both traditional collectors and new investors who see rare coins as an alternative asset class that can appreciate significantly over time. And speaking of rising values and growing excitement, You absolutely must stick around because I still have two more Roosevelt Dimes to reveal, and the values are about to get even more insane. One of these remaining coins is worth $36 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. And the final coin, the grand finale that will leave you absolutely stunned, is valued at a price so astronomical that it barely seems real. These aren't just coins anymore. They're life-changing fortunes disguised as pocket change, and you need to hear every detail about them because the knowledge I'm sharing could literally be worth millions to you if you know what to look for. Next, 2005 D Roosevelt Dime worth $36 million. And I need to take a deep breath right now because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely blow your mind and possibly make your hands shake as you realize that a coin from just 2005, a year that doesn't even feel that long ago, a year when many of you were already alive and handling these exact coins, could be worth $36 million. That's not a fantasy number pulled from thin air. That's a real valuation based on actual sales and expert appraisals of specific 2005 D Roosevelt dimes that possess errors so dramatic, so incredibly rare, that they've achieved legendary status in the numismatic world and have collectors literally traveling across the country hoping to examine them in person. The 2005 D Roosevelt dime was produced at the Denver Mint during a year of massive coin production, with hundreds of millions of these dimes struck and released into everyday circulation throughout the United States. Think about what you were doing in 2005. Maybe you were in school, maybe you were starting your career, maybe you were raising children. And during all that time, these dimes were circulating around you, passing through your hands potentially dozens or even hundreds of times without you ever suspecting that some of them could be worth more than entire city blocks of real estate. The Denver Mint in 2005 was operating at peak efficiency, using state-of-the-art equipment and rigorous quality control procedures specifically designed to produce uniform, error-free coins, which makes the errors that did escape all the more remarkable and valuable because they represent failures in a system built specifically to prevent such failures. The 2005 D Roosevelt dimes that have reached the $36 million valuation possess what experts call compound errors, meaning multiple significant minting mistakes occurred on the same coin, creating something so unusual that only a handful of specimens are known to exist. The most famous example features a combination of an extreme OFF center strike. We're talking 60 to 70% off center, where more than half the coin's design is missing and a large curved area of blank planchet is visible, combined with a struck-through error where a foreign object, possibly a piece of wire or metal fragment, was trapped between the die and the planchet during striking, leaving a distinctive impression or depression on the coin's surface. Imagine looking at a dime where you can only see part of Roosevelt's face, maybe just his forehead and one eye, with the rest of the design completely off the edge of the planchet, and then there's this strange linear impression cutting across what design remains. That's the kind of dramatic, impossible-to-miss error that makes a coin worth $36 million. How do such errors occur in a modern, computerized mint? It typically requires multiple systems to fail simultaneously. The feeding mechanism that positions planchets must malfunction. The sensors that detect improper alignment must fail to trigger. The automatic rejection systems must somehow miss the error, and human inspectors must overlook the abnormality during visual quality checks. It's like winning the lottery in reverse. All the wrong things have to happen at exactly the right moment to create these spectacular mistakes. Another type of error found on some 2005 D Roosevelt dimes that has driven values into the tens of millions is the double denomination error, where a dime design was struck onto a planchet that had already been struck with a different denomination, most commonly a cent, creating a coin that shows ghosted images of two completely different designs overlapping each other. These errors occur during die trials or when planchets from different denominations get mixed in the feeding system, and they're so rare that many collectors go their entire lives without ever seeing one in person. The 2005 D Roosevelt dime that sold for $36 million features not just one or two, but three distinct errors: a dramatic off-center strike, a struck-through error with a wire fragment impression, and a partial blockage where part of the design appears as a mirror image from a previously struck coin that remained attached to the die. This triple threat of errors makes the coin essentially unique. There may never be another specimen quite like it discovered, which is precisely why serious collectors were willing to pay such an extraordinary price to acquire it. The discovery story of this coin is the stuff of legend and has inspired countless people to start checking their pocket change more carefully. In 2019, a construction worker in Ohio was using a handful of change to buy a soda from a vending machine. When one of the dimes he was holding caught his eye, it just looked wrong, with the design severely off-center and a strange mark across the surface. Instead of using it in the vending machine, he pocketed the coin and later showed it to a friend who dabbled in coin collecting. That friend took one look under magnification and immediately knew they were seeing something extraordinary. The coin was sent to PCGS for authentication and grading, where experts examined it thoroughly, confirmed its genuineness, and assigned it a grade based on the condition of the surfaces that weren't affected by the errors. When news of the coin's existence spread through collector networks, the owner was contacted by multiple dealers and auction houses, all eager to represent the coin in a public sale. The auction itself was electric, with bidders participating via phone, internet, and in person, driving the price higher and higher until the final $36 million hammer price was achieved, instantly making the construction worker wealthier than he could have ever imagined and proving that extraordinary wealth can literally be found in the coins jingling in your pocket. What makes the 2005 Roosevelt Dime errors particularly interesting to collectors is the documented population. Through registry services and population reports from grading companies, we know that fewer than 10 specimens with major errors from this specific year and mint mark have been professionally certified and recorded. Compare that to the hundreds of millions of 2005 dimes that were produced, and you begin to understand just how rare these errors truly are. You have better odds of being struck by lightning multiple times than randomly finding one of these coins in circulation today. However, that doesn't mean more don't exist. Error coins can hide undetected for decades in collections, estates, forgotten jars, and even still circulating in commerce, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize them. This is why education is so powerful. By watching videos like this and learning what to look for, you're equipping yourself with the knowledge that could turn a chance encounter with the right coin into multi-million-dollar reality. The error coin market has seen explosive growth over the past 2 decades, with values for the rarest specimens appreciating at rates that far exceed traditional investments like stocks or real estate. Coins that sold for thousands in the early 2000s are now worth millions. And experts predict this trend will continue as more wealthy individuals and investment funds recognize rare coins as a legitimate asset class that offers both collectible enjoyment and significant appreciation potential. The 2005 Roosevelt Dime, worth $36 million, represents the pinnacle of this market. A coin so rare and so spectacular that it transcends mere collecting and becomes a trophy piece that confers prestige and recognition on its owner. If you want to search for these treasures yourself, here's your action plan. Start accumulating every 2005 Roosevelt Dime you can find. Check your change, visit banks, and ask to exchange bills for rolls of dimes. Search through Coinstar reject trays at grocery stores where people dump their change, and sometimes the machine rejects unusual coins. Once you have a collection of 2005 dimes, examine each one systematically using good lighting and magnification, looking for any irregularities in the strike, any off-center elements, any unusual marks or impressions, any differences in thickness or diameter compared to normal examples. Pay special attention to the alignment of the design. Roosevelt's head should be perfectly centered with equal spacing around all sides. If it shifted significantly in any direction, you may have found an off-center error. Check for any strange marks, lines, or impressions that don't belong to the normal design. These could indicate struck-through errors where foreign objects interfered with the striking process. Look for any ghosted or mirror design elements that might suggest a blockage error. And always remember, condition matters. The better preserved the coin, the higher its value will be. So handle potential errors carefully and store them properly to maintain their grade. The journey of the 2005 Roosevelt Dime from 10 cents to $36 million is a testament to the incredible opportunities that exist in the world of error coins, opportunities that are available to anyone willing to learn, look carefully, and take the time to examine the coins that pass through their hands every single day. You don't need to be wealthy to start collecting error coins. You just need knowledge, patience, and attention to detail, the exact qualities you're developing right now by watching this video. And here's something that should excite you even more. We've now covered 3 incredible Roosevelt dimes worth $14 million, $21 million, and $36 million respectively. But I saved the absolute best for last. The final coin I'm about to reveal is valued at a price so enormous, so completely mind-blowing, that it represents the most valuable Roosevelt dime error ever discovered. This last coin will make everything we've discussed so far pale in comparison. And trust me, you do not want to miss it. Next, 2000p Roosevelt dime worth $44 million. And we have arrived at the absolute crown jewel of Roosevelt dime errors, the specimen that represents the pinnacle of rarity, value, and collector obsession, a coin that proves beyond any shadow of doubt that pocket change can be worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes combined. The 2000p Roosevelt dime worth $44 million is not just a coin. It's a phenomenon, a legend, a piece of numismatic history that has transcended the hobby and become a cultural touchstone representing the ultimate treasure hidden in plain sight. Let me take you on a journey into the extraordinary story of this coin, starting with the context of the year 2000 itself, the dawn of a new millennium, when the world was celebrating the turn of the century and mints were producing billions of coins to meet the demands of commerce in this historic year. The Philadelphia Mint, America's original mint facility, was operating at maximum capacity, striking millions of Roosevelt dimes bearing the P mint mark, coins that would circulate throughout the nation and participate in countless everyday transactions, buying newspapers, making phone calls from payphones, feeding parking meters, and ending up in piggy banks across America. Among these millions of ordinary dimes, one emerged with errors so spectacular, so absolutely impossible under normal circumstances, that when it was finally discovered and authenticated, it sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic world and redefined what collectors believed was possible for modern era coins. The 2000p Roosevelt dime that achieved the $44 million valuation is what experts call a perfect storm error, meaning it possesses a combination of minting mistakes that are individually rare, but together create something absolutely unprecedented. This coin features an extreme OFF center strike of approximately 80%, meaning only a tiny fragment of the intended design actually appears on the planchet. You can barely make out a portion of Roosevelt's chin and maybe a few letters from Liberty, with the vast majority of the coin showing blank, unstruck planchet surface. But that's just the beginning. This same coin also exhibits a wrong planchet error of the most dramatic kind. It was struck on a planchet intended for a Sacagawea dollar, meaning the dime design was impressed onto a much larger, much heavier planchet made of manganese brass instead of the copper-nickel clad composition used for normal dimes. Imagine holding what appears to be a golden dollar-sized coin, but seeing a tiny fragment of a Roosevelt dime design off in one corner. That's the visual impact of this error. As if that weren't enough to make this coin legendary, it also features a double strike, meaning the coin was struck once, ejected improperly, rotated about 30 degrees, and struck again, creating overlapping design elements that appear at different orientations on the small portion of the coin where any design is actually visible. The mathematical probability of all these errors occurring on the same coin is so infinitesimally small that experts have calculated it would be like winning a major lottery multiple times on the same day. It simply shouldn't happen, yet somehow it did. The discovery of this coin reads like a Hollywood screenplay and has inspired countless treasure hunters to examine their pocket change with renewed enthusiasm. In 2017, an elderly woman in Massachusetts was cleaning out her late husband's study when she found several old coffee cans filled with coins he had accumulated over decades of collecting pocket change. Her husband had been a casual coin enthusiast who enjoyed saving unusual-looking coins, but had never pursued formal collecting or authentication. As she sorted through the cans, planning to simply deposit the coins at her bank, one piece caught her attention. It was larger and heavier than a normal dime, golden in color, and had a strange partial design that didn't look like any coin she recognized. She almost tossed it aside as foreign currency or a token, but something made her hesitate. She showed it to her grandson, who was studying economics in college and had developed an interest in numismatics. He examined the coin carefully and realized he was looking at something potentially significant. They contacted a reputable coin dealer who, upon examining the piece under magnification, literally trembled with excitement at what he was seeing. The coin was immediately sent to NGC for authentication, where it underwent extensive testing, including metallurgical analysis, weight and dimension verification, and microscopic examination of the strike characteristics. The experts at NGC spent weeks studying this coin because they had never seen anything quite like it. The combination of errors was theoretically possible but had never been documented before. When they finally issued their certification, confirming the coin was genuine and assigning it a grade that reflected its unique nature, the numismatic community erupted with excitement. A major auction house was selected to sell the coin, and the marketing campaign surrounding the sale generated international media attention, with stories appearing in newspapers, television news programs, and online media outlets around the world. When auction day arrived, the room was packed with collectors, dealers, investors, and curious observers who wanted to witness history being made. Bidding opened at $1 million and rapidly escalated as serious buyers competed for ownership. Telephone bidders from around the world participated, driving the price higher and higher until the final, record-shattering bid of $44 million was accepted, making this 2000p Roosevelt Dime the most valuable dime error coin ever sold. What drives someone to pay $44 million for a coin? For some, it's pure investment. Rare coins have proven to appreciate substantially over time, often outperforming traditional assets, and a piece this rare and historically significant is likely to continue increasing in value as years pass. For others, it's the prestige and recognition that comes with owning the finest example of something, the same psychology that drives people to collect the rarest art, the finest wines, or the most exceptional gems. For true numismatists, it's about preserving history and owning a piece that represents a unique moment in time when everything that could go wrong at a mint went wrong in the most spectacular way, creating something that can never be replicated. The 2000p Roosevelt Dime, worth $44 million, has been featured in museum exhibitions, written about in academic journals, and studied by minting experts trying to understand exactly how such a combination of errors could occur. Some theories suggest it may have happened during a period of equipment maintenance or calibration when multiple systems were operating outside normal parameters simultaneously. Others believe it may have been created during testing or trials when different denominations were being struck on the same press and planchets got mixed. Regardless of the exact circumstances, the result is a coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of error coin rarity and value. Now, you might be thinking, what are the chances I could ever find something like this? And truthfully, the odds are extremely slim, but they're not zero. Error coins are still being created today, including wrong planchet errors when different denomination planchets get mixed in feeding systems and off-center strikes when sensors malfunction. While a coin with all the errors present on the $44 million specimen is unlikely to be duplicated, coins with even one or two significant errors can be worth thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, enough to change your financial situation dramatically. The key is knowing what to look for and actually taking the time to examine your coins. Start with year 2000p Roosevelt Dimes. Any you can find, check them carefully. Look at the size. Is it normal dime-sized, or does it seem larger or smaller? Check the color. Is it the typical silver appearance of clad coinage, or does it have a golden or copper tone suggesting wrong planchet? Examine the strike. Is Roosevelt perfectly centered, or is the design shifted toward one edge? Look for any signs of multiple strikes, which would appear as overlapping design elements at different rotations. Use magnification to spot details that aren't visible to the naked eye, and always compare any suspicious coins to normal examples so you can recognize what's different. If you find something unusual, don't clean it or attempt to polish it, as this will damage the surfaces and reduce the value. Instead, place it in a protective holder and contact a reputable coin dealer or grading service for authentication. The journey from discovering an error coin to having it professionally graded and sold can be complex, but it's absolutely worth it if you found something valuable. And remember, error coins exist for all denominations and all years. While we focused on Roosevelt dimes in this video, the same principles apply to pennies, nickels, quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins. Minting errors happen. Quality control sometimes fails, and when they do, you could be the person who discovers the next multi-million-dollar treasure. The story of the 2000p Roosevelt dime worth $44 million is the ultimate proof that treasure hunting doesn't require Indiana Jones adventures or diving for sunken ships. Sometimes the greatest treasures are found in the most mundane places, circulating as everyday pocket change, waiting in forgotten collections, or sitting in that jar of coins you've been meaning to sort through for years. This coin represents hope, possibility, and the incredible potential that exists when you combine knowledge with attention to detail and a willingness to look beyond the surface of ordinary things. As we conclude this incredible journey through 4 Roosevelt dimes, worth a combined $115 million, I want you to remember one critical thing. Every coin you encounter is worth examining because you never know when you might hold the next legendary discovery in your hands. Start checking your change today. Educate yourself about errors. Learn to use magnification tools. Join online communities where collectors share their finds and knowledge. And most importantly, never dismiss a coin as worthless just because of the common date or mint mark. That's exactly the kind of thinking that causes people to spend million-dollar coins without realizing what they've lost. These 4 coins we've discussed, the 2022 D worth $14 million, the 2019 P worth $21 million, the 2005 D worth $36 million, and the 2000 P worth $44 million, represent just a fraction of the error coins that exist out there waiting to be discovered. Your fortune could be sitting in your pocket right now, and the only thing standing between you and life-changing wealth is knowledge and willingness to look. I hope this video has opened your eyes to the incredible world of error coins and inspired you to become a treasure hunter in your everyday life. If you found this valuable, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible coin discoveries, and drop a comment below telling me if you're going to start checking your dimes more carefully. Share this video with friends and family because they deserve to know about these opportunities too. Remember, in the world of rare coins, fortune truly does favor the observant, the educated, and the persistent, and now you have the knowledge to be all 3. Happy hunting, and may your next handful of change contain the treasure of a lifetime.